Welcome to Build for Bharat, where you and I learn from the builders and makers for Bharat. I'm your host, Sanjay Jain. Today I have with me Rahul Kulkarni, who is the Chief Technologist at Samagra. Rahul, welcome to Build for Bharat.
Thank you so much for having me here, Sanjay.
Rahul, we worked together at Google many years ago. There you tried out a lot of social impact projects. Now you're working with Samagra, creating real impact. One of the initiatives that I loved was Code for GovTech. What are the insights from there that we can take as you build for Bharat?
Hey, thanks, Sanjay. So let me give you a little background about why Code for GovTech. So at Samagra X, which is the tech arm of Samagra, our focus has been in helping build technology capability and capacity within the government. So working with smart scientists, engineers from NIC, CRAG, ISRO, other departments, we really envision an Atmanirbhar government where technology needs are met from within by leveraging modular open source platforms contributed to by the broader ecosystem, as opposed to current dependence on lock-in vendors building monoliths. The question always is, do we have enough talent to be able to do this? What are we doing to develop that talent in the next generation? While hackathons help showcase the talented, there are very few opportunities for students to get mentored by someone to acquire that talent. Students don't need more exams or competitions to prove themselves. They really need mentors to guide them to bring out the best in them. And that's exactly why we started Code for GovTech at Samagra X. So Code for GovTech is a technology mentoring program for students in their third or fourth year degree courses where they're paired with experienced open source mentors from participating organizations. These mentors help them learn the skills needed to build population scale products. Students who successfully complete this program, they not only will have built open source digital public goods, but will get a taste of what it means to develop software, not for the next startup making billions of dollars, but for impacting society at large, for changing lives, inculcating that spirit of giving very much at the heart of Bharat culture.
Thanks, Rahul. This is very amazing work that you're doing. What I heard in there was mentoring, but I also heard in there an opportunity to contribute to real life projects that are then being used by government. I would love to hear some examples of these projects.
So Sanjay, a lot of projects that have been, powering powerful, large-scale systems within the government are all open source, as you know. As part of Code for GovTech this year, a number of projects exist. I'll give you some examples. For example, Sunbird RC, which is the registry's building block that powers vaccines and other critical systems within the government. What does it take to create an administrative interface for it that enables anyone to get up and running with Sunbird RC, whether in public or private forums? That's one of the projects that would be used so many places. And you can see all of these projects in the Code for GovTech GitHub repository. So the UCI web channel project, we anticipate that it will be used to send agro advisory to Odisha farmers. About 10 to 20 lakh farmers every week would get advisories through that. Simple things like URL shortener that we just take for granted in the commercial world, but that turn too expensive when you think of sending billion shortcut URLs through some commercial product. What does it mean to create a self-hosted version of that, leveraging open source? So that in the pilot that we did at a smaller scale was used to create resumes for candidates and send them those via WhatsApp. About 80,000 of those candidates in just a couple of weeks had their resumes created and sent to them in Haryana. The doc generator project is used for generating templatized reports for teachers and mentors in Haryana to review their monthly performance. About 4,000 mentors use this regularly in Haryana. The QML player is used by students across states to attempt question papers, practice worksheets. So this is a Sunbird QML player and contributed by the HF team that helps consume interactive question sets. So about 10,000 students across Haryana every month take tests on these. And that's just scaling to other states, and that's where it needs to get to the next level. So as you can see, it's across domains, it's across complexity in terms of what is being done towards a project, and it actually impacts lives because every one of these would find their way in terms of some solution or the other within the government or NGOs.
Rahul, this is great to hear about the impact you're creating with these projects. So we are seeing students who are being trained and building GovTech projects. We are seeing government departments that are using these to impact real people on the ground. One of the threads I noticed in all of this was open source. I would ask you to make a pitch for open source to our listeners.
Would love to do that, Sanjay. So everything, just look around us. Everything that we access today, right from the vaccines we got, the Arogya Setu app that we use, the entire ONDC platform that was recently launched, a large part of NDR and so on, everything is open source. Now, while we take a lot of these things, and even personally, you may all have seen Linux, being used across servers, across powering a bunch of critical software, even commercially. Every part of this software is open source. What that means is the downside of it is we think it's free. It's just made to be. But how many of us have thought, where does this come from? This is coming from contributors who are actually helping build this. If each one of us took something that we are passionate about and actually made a small contribution to open source. If you know coding, fix an issue. If you know UX, help design something. If you are good at documentation, help learn and document things. If each one of us did our little part, there'd be so much more free and open source accessible software that would definitely make the world a much better place.
Wonderful, Rahul. Thank you. That was very well put. And I hope many of our listeners are taking notes and understanding that you can build on open source really powerful systems that can have a wide scale impact. Thank you for all your work and being on this podcast.
Thank you so much, Sanjay, for having me here.
Thank you for tuning in. This has been another episode of Build for Bharat, where we feature bite-sized discussions with the architects who are building India's inclusive digital future. Build for Bharat is a part of the Bharat Inclusion Initiative, where we support entrepreneurs who are building for Bharat with inclusive products. We are currently looking for companies to join the 6th cohort of our Financial Inclusion Labs. We are on the web, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Do write to us with your suggestions and requests to feature a guest or a topic. Build for Bharat is available on all major podcast platforms: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast fix from. We'll be back again with more insights soon. Subscribe now to never miss an episode.